Hello, travelers! Welcome to the Droid Cosmonaut podcast. I'm your host, Alto, and today I'm going to be covering Halo Infinite. Okay, to get things started, the main topic of this podcast is going to be Halo Infinite, but I would like to go over the Xbox presentation at E3 and a little bit over the Nintendo presentation. So let's get started. Xbox had a ton of new trailers for their games and some gameplay. They had some CGI and in-engine trailers. Everything looks really good. Gameplay wise, there was tons of I wouldn't say tons, but there was a significant amount. We got to see Forza Horizon 5, some Halo Infinite gameplay, and a few other games. Slime Rancher 2, totally didn't know that was a game that I needed, but I need it now. And I guess just to start with the Xbox presentation, my top three takeaway is Halo Infinite replaced, which looks absolutely amazing, and Redfall. And I'm just really excited to get a new game from Arcane that's going to be available on Xbox and Game Pass. I'm just glad to see all these games that are coming to Game Pass day one. And with the addition of Bethesda on the Xbox side, I think we're getting a really solid lineup of games, and I'm just really looking forward to it. Although I would have to say my runner-ups for the top three, I guess it would be more of a top five if I include these, but 12 Minutes and, as is mentioned before, Slime Rancher 2 both look fantastic. But I think we all have to admit that Play the Game, POG, was definitely the Xbox mini fridge. They've been talking about that for a while on Twitter, but I'm glad to see that actually came to fruition, and we've got an Xbox mini fridge on the way. And I'd like to get one of those so I can sit it next to my my Series X. Yeah, and so just to move on to the Nintendo presentation before we get back into the Halo Infinite topic, I am glad to see that we're getting a new Mario Party. I'm glad to see that we're getting a new WarioWare. Super excited for that. And I am glad that we finally got a new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, which is looking absolutely fantastic. I thought the art style of Breath of the Wild 1 was really good, really beautiful, and Nintendo did an absolute great job. So let's see what Breath of the Wild 2 brings us. I know we've got to wait a year for it, but, it's Nintendo, and they're usually pretty solid. So before we move on to Halo Infinite, I did want to bring up Xbox Design Lab is back, and I am so happy that they brought this back. I wanted to get one of these on my Xbox One when they had this available, and then they took it away to improve it for the next-gen controllers, and now it is up. You can go ahead and make a controller today. I went ahead and made my own, so I've got mine on order, waiting to get it, and I'm just super excited. I went with a kind of like a Halo theme, and kind of going around Master Chief, so I'm using like military green and some gray and black and a little bit of orange. They didn't have a good color that would kind of get the visor across, and I was struggling with yellow or orange, but I went with orange for the triggers. And I'll put a picture up on screen to show you what I went with. But go ahead and head on over there and make your custom controller. And this is a really cost-efficient way to do it instead of finding an outsourced controller company. Although if you want like custom designs and stuff like that, of course that's something you have to find on your own, but this is a good way to get a custom color and personalize it and make it your own, and even throw your gamer tag or whatever you want on the bottom there. And so let's go ahead and move into Halo Infinite. So Halo Infinite, man, this is the new Halo 3 for me. And my favorite Halo is Halo 2, but Halo 3, it holds a special place in my heart, and I think that we got to see a lot in the terms of gameplay. We got trailers, we got gameplay, a multiplayer trailer, we got a regular trailer, multiplayer trailer, and a vidoc, which I'll go over in a few minutes here. But on the gameplay, I wanted to go over a few things that I noticed weren't there. We didn't see anything from the shoulder charge. We didn't see anything from the little thrust dash that they had from Halo 5 or the ground pound. So I wonder if those are actually going to be in the game. I have a feeling that the shoulder charge might still be in there. And thrust, I don't know if that's going to be kept, because it looks like they're moving back to a more classic Halo movement style, but of course with sprint included. Although more Halo games have had sprint than they have not, so everyone who's upset about sprint, I guess will just have to go back to Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST, because that started with Reach. And I think this Halo is going to be the best Halo since Halo 3 and ODST. We got a solid team working on the game, and it's going to be just absolutely amazing. I remember when I played, just to reminisce a little bit about Halo 3, when Halo 3 first came out, before it was coming out, they were doing a beta through Crackdown 2, and I had Crackdown 2, and I was really glad to be able to get on the Crackdown 2 and play in the Halo 3 beta when it was first up. And I remember having a bunch of issues trying to get on, but we got to, a couple of my friends and I got on there and got to play on Valhalla, and it was just a really good time. And I think Halo 3, I mean, I logged some hours on that game, and so this Halo Infinite, I think, is going to be just absolutely amazing from what we've seen so far. And another thing to, I guess, compare it to Halo 3 is that we've got this vidoc that they threw out for us after the presentation, or maybe it was during the presentation, I can't remember. This whole week's kind of melded together, because we've got, we had the Sunday E3 Xbox presentation, and then we had the vidoc on the following Monday, and then Thursday we had the extended gameplay showcase from Xbox. So we had a lot of Xbox news this week, and a lot of announcements and stuff that's available now, and you know, we're gonna get new games for 6 months straight on Game Pass, and it's gonna be really good. But yeah, onto the vidoc. So we got to see a lot of stuff that just looks absolutely amazing, with Big Team Battle 2.0, new gameplay mechanics, having the training mode, getting to see a little bit more on the grapple and the repulsor, which we saw in the multiplayer combat trailer, but I think that repulsor is going to be super fun to use and get some sweet movement going on. A little bit of like a super jump that they showed in the trailer, where you can reflect off the ground and launch yourself upwards. And the grapple is gonna, you know, the grapple has to bring great play. Any game that's got a grapple, I feel like, is just, it's bound to have some great moments. So I mean, we'll see what happens there, but yeah, and we got to learn a lot about the battle pass, which I'll go over. And I'm not going to go over too much on the mechanics side of things, but UberNick on YouTube and Twitter has a great video where he kind of, and this guy is so excited about it, and I absolutely love it. And it's him being so excited about it is kind of helped to boost my enthusiasm about the game. And I absolutely love Halo, but just, you know, seeing other people this excited about it is great. So I'll link his video down below for his little video analysis that he's got. And JackFrags had a 10-minute, 11-minute overview as well. And you know, everyone loves JackFrags, but he's got some great content on that. So both of those links will be down below. Please go check them out. But you know, you've probably already seen them. The last person's content you'd see is mine, because it's still not anywhere near those numbers. And next, let's go ahead and talk about that public beta, or the flight as 343 refers to them. So if you're not signed up for flighting in Halo Infinite or Halo at all, then you need to get on there and sign up. And this is going to be your opportunity to do that before this beta comes out this summer. or this flight, I should say. So just to do that, you head on over to halowaypoint.com, sign in to your account if you have one. If not, go ahead and create an account. You can use your Microsoft account, Xbox Live account to log into that. And then all you have to do to register for flighting is fill in a few bits of information. If you're on PC, you got to include a little bit more information. But once you do that, you're all set up to do flighting. And once we get that infinite tech test or public flight, then you can get on there and get playing. And this is a perfect opportunity to, get that feedback in for 343 to make any adjustments before the final game comes out, because they've had a lot of time to work with this game. But of course, depending on how much time is in between the beta and the actual launch of the game might reflect the kind of changes they can make. But regardless of what the feedback is, they can take that constructive criticism and build a better launch game and work on getting the changes out post-launch as well if it's something that's a bigger change. But we'll see. And we didn't get a concrete release date, but I'm expecting that we're going to get something. I'm hoping that we're going to get it on November 15th for the 20th anniversary of Halo. I feel like that's a perfect date to launch it. They have Forza Horizon 5 coming out the week before that, I believe on the 9th. So this is their opportunity to have two heavy hitters in that same month. Both are going to be on Game Pass, and we're going to have Halo Infinite on PC and Xbox. It's going to be great. And Halo Infinite's going to be free to play. So even if you don't have Game Pass, you'll be able to get on there and do that multiplayer free to play, or get the the full version of the game where you have the story mode thrown in as well. And if you've got it, if you have any little bit of interest in it, of course, this story looks like it's going to be really solid this time around, and hopefully close some loose ends that they've had across 4 and 5. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of information, I think, in there from Halo Wars 2. So if you haven't played Halo Wars 2, this might be a proper time to do that. I still need to go through and make a playthrough of Halo Wars 2 to learn a little bit more about the Banished. But so I'm hoping November 15th and not later, but they did say holiday 2021. So we'll see what that means. That could even mean, December, but I'm hoping they surprise us with an earlier release date. But yeah, enough about that. So I'd like to go over this battle pass that we have, which is similar to what they're doing in the Master Chief Collection. And if you're not familiar with that, this Halo Infinite battle pass system is such a pro-consumer move compared to other battle passes out there. And like I said in my last video, I am not big on battle passes at all. Just because there's so many time constraints around the way that battle passes work that you have to complete it in a certain amount of time. And I don't always have that kind of time. And I know a lot of other people do not have that kind of time to go through and complete a battle pass every single time. And so sometimes, people skip out on a battle pass for a season or two of whatever game they're playing. And Apex is a good example of that. And I think that battle pass content, when it's timed, creates a certain type of FOMO that makes it hard to stay engaged in the game if you miss a season. And just for an example of that, I've got a close friend of mine who he hasn't played in several seasons now because I think he started missing out on one season and playing some other stuff. And then once you get to that point, it's kind of hard. It's easy to get back and play the game, but like just working on the content, it can be a chore. You have to log in and do dailies and do weeklies and force yourself to play the game in a different way than you normally want to do. And so while there is still going to be a battle pass in Infinite, I think the method that they're doing is fantastic. So the way it's going to work is you purchase your battle pass, and let's say you don't get Halo Infinite on launch, you don't get the multiplayer on launch, then a few months in, or like say a month and a half in, you decide, hey, I want to play this, and you don't have enough time to complete the battle pass. Well, the good news is that battle pass is not going to expire. You can go right into the next season, buy the next battle pass, and then you can, once you complete let's see, the second battle pass, you can go back and complete the first one, or you can continue doing the first one, and then once you complete that, move on to the second one, whichever works for you. Or let's say you've got a friend who is super anti-Halo, and then 2 years in, they finally join on and they're like, all right, I want to get into this. They can go back and get all of those battle passes that they missed and get that content. And that's a constant stream of content. That's, and it's all cosmetic, of course, too, right? So you don't have to do it. But, they're still going to have the your normal events, right? So you'll have events that will have special limited time content, and that's totally understandable. For anyone who's played MMOs or any other games that there's a multiplayer focus with cosmetics, that's a very common thing, right? So I don't think that that's a bad thing, but the Battle Pass system has been very stale for me for a while now, and it is, I want to say it's the flavor of the month, but it's been such a big thing for several years now that it's just a common thing in every game. Is a game coming out? Is it going to have a battle pass? Yep. It's just guaranteed at this point. So Halo and Xbox 343 making the changes that they're doing to the battle pass on such a big game, I think is going to force a lot of other developers who have battle passes to change what they do with theirs. And yeah, it's really solid, and I hope that we see something like that from Battlefield 2042. I know that, and I think that's what they said they were doing, and I can't recall. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm hoping that we see something like that for Battlefield 2042. And like I said in my last video or last podcast, that we have 2 really big games coming out this year that I love. And that's Battlefield 2042 and Halo Infinite. And I am so glad that we're getting new stuff from, both sides of the table. And I really want to see where this adventure is going to take Master Chief. I cannot wait to play this multiplayer and get really into it. I think once this game comes out, my focus on Apex Legends is going to severely dip off. But, Apex is a great game. I think that Halo Infinite is, now that we've seen so much more, they're coming out swinging, and I hope that the decisions they have made and all of the stuff we have seen really lives up to the hype that we're getting, and that everyone's expectations live up to them. And it's never, I know a lot of people complain about the graphics of certain games, and I think that Halo has a certain stylized visual that gets overlooked a lot of the time by people who are looking for high fidelity graphics. And don't get me wrong, I think that they're working on the resolution, right? So they've got resolution. You're going to be able to, on Xbox Series X, play it 4K, PC, play it, whatever ungodly resolution your computer can handle. And Series S will probably do 1440p. So we're still going to have those resolutions and, be able to hit 120 FPS on hopefully all systems, right? And, it's maybe the textures are a certain thing for some people, but it's like not all games need to look realistic, right? They just need to look good. And I think that that's the stylized graphics that makes Halo special, that Halo has never looked like a realistic game, but I think that every iteration of Halo has looked good during its time. And this is where, the upgrades we've seen so far just from Halo 5 to Halo Infinite alone are absolutely amazing. And it's very consistent. The lighting looks great, and the changes they've made from last year have just been so big that I think it's just going to be a really great game. And, people who are in games just for the graphics really aren't appreciating the art that comes from games that are not designed to be, 100% realism here and there. It's, there's a certain type of art that comes from games like Ori and the Blind Forest, or I think it's called Ollie Ollie, the new skating game that's coming out, or maybe it's just called Ollie. Shredders, the new snowboarding game, you know, even Battlefield 2042. I mean, Battlefield has it looks very close to a realistic game, but there's a certain type of maybe texturing or character design that makes it look a little bit unreal at times. And if you've played Battlefield, you'll know what I'm saying. Versus, well, Modern Warfare and Black Ops are a little bit on a different side of things, I think, where Modern Warfare was going for the hyper realism, and then that kind of went down the drain. But I mean, Black Ops has a great looking campaign, right? So, you know, there's different things. There's different graphics for everyone, and I think that Halo Infinite is a true stylized art piece, just like all of the Halo games, and that anyone who is judging it strictly by graphics alone is going to miss out on a really fantastic experience. So if you've got friends that are on PC and you're on Xbox, time to get them on board. And if you've got friends on Xbox that haven't played Halo, I think this is the perfect time. And maybe even get, you know, all your friends on Master Chief Collection and grind through all the games so you're caught up on the story. And, you know, if you got Game Pass, hop on Halo Wars 1 and 2 and complete both of those. You know, it's just additional Halo lore. And, you know, just like how I feel about Star Wars, the more Halo we have, the better. You know, the more Star Wars we have, the better, regardless of how people feel about it. You know, there's always going to be changes that they make with games that people don't agree with. And maybe there's hardcore Halo 5 fans that are, you know, upset with the changes that they're making in Halo Infinite. And there's quote unquote classic Halo fans who still have problems with what they're doing with Halo Infinite and Sprint. But the last time they played a Halo game was, you know, CE. So we'll see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you liked the content, please give me a like. If you hated it, please give me a dislike and leave your feedback. I'm always looking to improve. And so, yeah, thanks for listening. You know where to follow me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and, you know, all over. I'm hoping to get streaming soon and get some video content on here soon, and looking to get that second host started and soon. So, started on here soon, sorry. So yeah, keep following for more, and catch you next time. This is Alto from the Droid Cosmonaut, and I'll catch you next time.